You really believe that at an early age there could be someone without a hair already? Was it really true that Captain Picard lost his hair at this age? As one of Starfleet's most revered and respected captains, Jean-Luc Picard has distinguished himself as a man of great strength, diplomatic conviction, and steadfast defense of the principles that founded Starfleet and the Federation. We've got some really exciting details about when did Captain Picard lose his hair in Star Trek. Watch until the end because you'll be shocked as to what we tell you. A famous example in all fiction is Star Trek Captain Jean-Luc Picard, one of the many famous bald characters in all of fiction. Picard's hair loss has left him with a mysterious appearance. A bald captain on the Enterprise is one of the most iconic characters, but the exact date when he lost his hair is hard to determine. It's not clear when exactly the character of Jean-Luc Picard was first introduced in 1987, when Star Trek The Next Generation was released. In 1987, Patrick Stewart played the character. The original Star Trek series excluded James Kirk, Spock, and the rest of the crew from that show, making it the first installment without them. The Next Generation was a huge success when it first premiered, but it was highly controversial at the time. Aside from the fact that it didn't feature any of the franchise's established icons, Jean-Luc Picard himself could not have been more different from Captain Kirk. Picard was a more seasoned, emotionally reserved administrator than Kirk, who was a handsome, swashbuckling adventurer. Interestingly, Picard was bald, something few leading men of that time were able to claim, especially those who were in science fiction, a genre that focused heavily on male fantasy. While Patrick Stewart has famously been bald his entire adult life, there's some evidence to suggest Picard lost his hair relatively late in life, about a decade before the events of The Next Generation, but the evidence isn't as clear-cut as it appears. Even before audiences knew he would be playing Jean-Luc Picard, Patrick Stewart's baldness caused controversy. Despite Stewart's baldness, Star Trek creator Gene Roddenberry rejected him out of hand, claiming that by the 24th century, baldness would be curable, and that no one would be attracted to a bald leading man. It was Roddenberry who eventually relented to Berman's urgings, coming up with a quite clever notion that the show's other producers would not care if Stewart went bald in the 24th century. Following Stewart's powerful performance as Picard, fans and creators were soon relieved that any doubts had about Stewart's performance as Picard had been cleared up. With 7 seasons leading Star Trek The Next Generation, Jean-Luc Picard quickly became one of Star Trek's most beloved characters. He then starred in 4 feature films as a member of the TNG cast and eventually made a surprise return in Star Trek Picard. A deeply thoughtful man unconcerned by perceived cosmetic flaws, Picard's baldness became part of his inherent appeal. It has been hinted throughout the Jean-Luc Picard's on-screen history that he had lost his hair at some point in time. In a way, Beverly Crusher's attitude is similar to Picard's attitude in Star Trek The Next Generation's episode Violations, in which it's not explicitly stated that he lost his hair, as he still had it about a decade before the events of Violations occurred. There is a scene in the classic Star Trek episode Tapestry in which Q depicts Picard as a much younger man with a full head of hair. It's important to note that Picard did not necessarily have hair until so late in life. Dr. Crusher is recounting that violation scene under duress, and it's entirely possible that her memory is distorted. Likewise, it's entirely possible the mischief Q could have mocked Picard by giving the younger version of him a full head of hair. As a further confirmation that Picard lost his hair at a young age, Star Trek Nemesis, the final film that featured the TNG cast, is highly controversial. Picard looks at a photo from his Academy years where he is bald, and Shinzon, an evil clone of Picard portrayed by a young Tom Hardy, already has his hair by 20. As difficult as it may be to pinpoint exactly which event led to Picard losing his hair, it cannot be denied that his hair loss is one of the most iconic characteristics of the character. His baldness and forward-thinking ethos are essential to his character's success as a leading man. I hope this answers your curiosity. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.